Hey everybody, this is my Gourami Tank, and I just had a forehead smacking moment yesterday. I've been going around and around with this tank, trying to figure out what's wrong with one of my plants. If you haven't been following along, I have a water Sprite floating in the top left corner near where you can see that moonlight Gourami. That floating plant up there is the one in question. And it's growing in an odd sort of way, and to me it looks like it's suffering from some sort of nutrient deficiency. And that probably is correct, although I've been missing a very, very obvious point. And yesterday when I was watching one of the videos of this tank where I was talking about that very thing, I was putting my cards and attaching, making sure everything was cleaned up and ready to go. And as I was watching the video, I was watching something that I've seen a million times, and that is the gouramis over there pecking at the roots and eating on the root system. And it just hit me in the forehead like a ton of bricks. If it was any other kind of garden, if it was my house plants, if it was my plants out in the yard or in the garden, and there was grubs or beetles or something under the ground that was chewing on the root system, it would have a huge impact on the growth of the plant above the soil. So just because these plants are being grown hydroponically doesn't mean that damage to the root system isn't going to have a similar effect. So when we look over here, look at the root system on this plant. It's a massive plant. It covers, almost half the tank, and that's with me getting in there and trimming it back on a regular basis. And yet, look at the stumpy little root system we've got there. If we come around the room, and I got to actually walk around all the stuff in the middle of the room right now, but if we get all the way around to here, we can see another floating water Sprite. Look at that root system. That's what the root system should look like. And the key thing with this root system, you can see it best on this trailing edge out here. See how it looks fuzzy? All of those little teeny tiny terminals, if you were to think about this as your circulatory system in your body, and you saw all those little arteries that got branching smaller and smaller and smaller, where does all the magic happen? It all happens in the capillaries. It all happens at those tiny little roots at the very end, just like in your circulatory system. The main branches are there to transport. They're not there to do the nutrient exchange and the gas exchange. Just like in your blood and in your arteries, all that magic happens down at that very, very, very smallest level. Unfortunately, those are also the most tender little pieces of the roots. So that's a good, healthy root system. Now let's come back and have a second look at this one. Now you tell me whether or not you think that's going to have an impact on the way this plant grows. So we've got multiple things going on here. First of all, we've got the root system itself being damaged, and that damage is minimizing or limiting or restricting the amount of nutrient uptake that we can have. So the plant is already suffering. It's already not able to take in the nutrients it needs. But it's also being damaged. So it's got to do all of that damage repair, which requires more energy, more nutrients, more food, etc. So it's a losing battle. It's never going to get ahead of itself. The harder it tries to heal itself, the more it gets damaged, and the less nutrients it's able to uptake. So putting the trace elements and the trace minerals in here, I've been using Seachem's Flourish, and it's had a fantastic effect. I mean, you can see the rest of the tank has just exploded into growth. This tiger lotus is just out of control. I never even noticed her sitting in there. She just looks so fantastic hiding in these tiger lotus, and I think she knows it. I think that's why she sits in there, is because she just blends in and just looks absolutely beautiful when she sits in those red and golden colored leaves like that. Fantastic. I love it. But again, we're getting out of control, so I think I'm going to cut back on the plant nutrients. I think I've sorted out what my issue is, and the issue is basically right there, my 3 gouramis. See, they're doing it right now. As we stand here and talk, they're moving in and munching away on the roots. So I've always said, if you're going to have gouramis in the tank and you're going to have a planted tank, you're just going to have to deal with the fact that you're going to get damage to your plants. It's kind of like a garden and butterflies. If you like butterflies, you better be willing to accept the fact that some caterpillars are going to eat some of your plants. If you don't want caterpillars eating your plants, don't expect to see any butterflies. So if I like having gouramis in my planted tank, I better expect to see my plants get munched on a little bit. Otherwise, I need to get the gouramis out of the tank or get the plants out of the tank. That's just the way it's going to work. So I finally feel like I've solved the issue. I'm not going to stress or think about it anymore. As far as I'm concerned, that's got to be what's causing that plant to grow funny. It is a nutrient deficiency, but it is a nutrient deficiency not caused by a lack of nutrients in the water. It's caused by the plant's inability to uptake those nutrients, and that's not going to change no matter how much juice I pour in that tank. So hopefully that enlightens somebody else. Maybe someone else is having similar issues. That's about all I can think of to say. I just wanted to come down and shoot that video while it was fresh in my mind. Like I said, last night I saw it and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. That's got to be what the issue is. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I hope that was enlightening to somebody. Maybe help somebody else solve some sort of issue. Don't forget, this is my Gourami Tank. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you real soon in the next one.